For over 30 years, Cascade has been the most trusted helmet in lacrosse. Introducing the Cascade S. Cascade, passion to protect.
Hey guys, Greg Beast here. Really excited about this part one of the East Coast Dies Weapon X head review. I am conflicted because right now it is January 2019. I will be doing this spec review that I can't really release until they make it official, the official announcement, which will come some point in March, in which case I'll then do a review of the actual performance of this head. So what I'm going to do, like I have in the past, I'm going to give you guys a two-part review. This first part will be all spec review, the design, what they were going for, and then I'm going to proceed to spend the next couple months breaking this head in, trying to beat it up, destroy it, how it performs, all that stuff. Now, let's keep it real. I'm an East Coast Dies athlete. I put my heart and soul into helping them design this head, along with many other top-end face-off guys like Bones Kelly, Brent Hyken, a couple other guys down in the Maryland area. So I'm going to be obviously biased because this is exactly the type of head that I want to use. However, because of that, I think that, we'll give this head off to a couple other guys, Green Knuckles Lacrosse, a couple other people, so they can do honest reviews as well, just so that you guys can take what I say with a grain of salt. So I'm going to try to stay less opinionated and more just honestly about what we were shooting for with this head, okay? So here's the final version. This is the East Coast Dies Weapon X. I was not part of the decision-making process on the name, so I can't take credit for its badassery. However, it does speak well to what we were going for. So let me just tell you the story. When Greg and company came from ECD and they had mentioned to me that they wanted to make a face-off head, my first response was, I would love to help as long as we're not making a FOGO head. I think there's enough of those on the market. Not that I think FOGOs are bad. I obviously don't like the term, but the FOGO face-off, get-off head exists in the market. There's good ones out there already. STX, Warrior, String King, they all making heads that are FOGO specific, and I don't want to make just another one to compete with those heads. What I wanted was to make a head that is for 90% of the market out there. The question I get every single day from parents and players and coaches, is there a head that can be made where you face off and stay on? Okay, where we've been calling it a FOSO. Face off, stay on. Can we have a head that faces off well, has the right flex points, but when I have the ball in my stick, can I shoot hard, not just pass and shoot lightly from 2 yards out, but can I rip it from a distance? Can it stay consistent? Can it be more warp and break resistant? And that's what we were going for. So I said, if we can make a head that has an offensive performance value to it that you can face off with, I'm all in, because that's the head I've always been hoping to have ever since I was in the pros. So this is what we came up with. Let me go over the specs. Two things. One, East Coast Dies has become famous for their headstands. This one actually doubles as a throat spacer. So that's just right off the bat, just a little thing there. So let's go over this. Obviously, the first thing that's going to shoot out, there's a couple things that are going to shoot out at you. One, why did we make an insertable throat with 3 screw holes? Well, why not, right? It doesn't add much weight. It makes sure that the thing is locked in there. And then when you screw it in, you get the screw in, the shaft is here. It's in between this plastic and the outside, and it wedges in tight. And why not have 3 screw holes? So just double down on the security of it. There's some heads out there that are really tight. You got to bang them on with a hammer. There's some heads out there that are a little loose, and the jiggle drives us crazy. You won't have that with this head. That's the intent, to make sure that it's as solid as you want it to be. In the prototypes that I've used up to this point, I have generally gone with 1 screw here for the most part, and then sometimes I go with this screw here. Totally up to you, your call. But I think, honestly, we went overkill on the security of it around the shaft. because we want it to stay solid. The insertable throat obviously means that if you're a composite shaft person, that you might have issues with certain composite shafts. I personally am not a composite guy. I love the feel of a metal alloy. I always have, I always will, and most pro guys are that way. So that's not going to be an issue for us. I've always gone with either the East Coast Dies Focus shaft or the Maverick, Union, or Apollo. Those are kind of my favorite shafts. I've also used it on the STX Alliance shaft when I had a prototype. So those are all shafts that work. Alloys are going to be fine. So the next thing we notice, the most offset you'll ever see on a FaceOff specific head. I believe that we needed, in order to make it feel like a true offensive weapon, we had to have a full offset. I've always played with a full offset when I use the OG blade. It's nothing new to me. The pro of this is it doesn't affect your face-offs at all. And it helps you a lot, obviously, with cranking hard shots, cradling through traffic, all that stuff that an offset, the reason the offset became famous. The con to this is that many players might feel this offset and be thrown off by it because you're not seeing it with other heads. So it might weird some guys out. They might take 5 face-offs with it and say, I don't like the way this feels, rather than getting used to it. So who knows? That's the chance we were willing to take in order to make a head we knew was going to work. The next thing you're probably noticing is something's up right here, right? We have an X, and that's because the sidewalls are technically different. Now, do they feel different? No. Are the holes different? No. Are the widths different? Absolutely not. The only difference is the trestle. So on this side, it goes here. This side, it goes there. Well, why did we do that? Well, one, I'm not an engineer. We left that up to the engineers. What we were looking for when it came to flex points on this head was we wanted the best of both worlds. So we wanted this top sidewall to peel back slightly. We wanted this portion right here to be kind of the power portion of this head. Where this sidewall trestle meets the back sidewall, it's supposed to be our point of strength, so that when we meet the other head on contact, it will force its way into the show. Rather than creating like a big plow like the Under Armour head is famous for, we wanted something that's just strong and has a very lean profile so it can knife and it can beat other heads that are flimsy. I'll use the term flimsy a lot, not in a negative context, just in a way so you understand that it kind of bends really warpy and flexes back as opposed to a stronger head. So this, in the prototypes at least, twists and moves, this stays solid. So that was kind of the strength. If you remember the Nas had a deeper cup that would stay stronger up higher, and that's why it was tough to beat. So you're basically getting that strength with a much leaner profile that can cut into the ball as well. The bottom sidewall was designed to wrap up under the ball. So especially for you neutral grip guys out there, I'm obviously a very big proponent of neutral grip. We like the bottom sidewall to cut up under the ball. So keep it real thin here, keep it strong, but have a different flex similar to that of a dual, where it'll cut up underneath the ball on the point of entry. So we're going up under the ball here, and we're driving in and down onto the ball on this side. The engineers looked at it, a million different tests and R&D later, and it was decided that the trestles needed to be opposite ways to get slightly different flexes for what we wanted. So that's the way it came out. Then, obviously, the string holes. Now, the common question, how many string holes are there? Yes, you can bro yourself crazy with your string holes, okay? There are enough string holes. I don't think East Coast Dies, of all people, wasn't going to give you enough string holes so you can secure a pocket. But you also have to remember, the more string holes you have, the weaker the plastic's going to be. If there's a hole in something, it's compromised, right? So the idea was, how can you strategically put the right amount of holes without compromising the integrity of the plastic? So this is what we came up with. Though there's exactly the same amount of holes on both sides. You have plenty of holes up here where there's not going to be much, sturdiness issues don't impact it all the way up here. So you're going to have plenty of string holes for your SIs and all that stuff. And then down here, we have enough for you to have your pocket. I've always been someone who does the wrap. I'm still not sold on what exact pocket I want for this head, so we'll see. But in the past, I've always kind of wrapped in the middle here so that I get more sway in my pocket. But we'll see. Then the biggest thing is the strong scoop. We need a scoop that is solid, is going to absolutely vacuum the ball. There are heads out there in the market that this kind of feels flat, almost like a snow shovel, and it makes it harder to pick up ground balls. I've always been someone who likes a rounder scoop, so you can get the ball on the corner, basically come in hard. You can either bring it straight up to your face, or if you reach out one-handed, you can kind of get it, pull it back into yourself. So that's what we're looking for. This scoop, you can't top it. We spent a lot of time making sure the scoop was solid. It's got a lean profile, but it is strong. So that was the idea. Those were the specs we were going for. When you hold this head, you hold the ball in it, it should feel like you can crank the living hell out of the ball. But when you face off with it, it has the right flex points. Now, will it be slightly stiffer out of the box? Absolutely. You might grab this and be like, whoa, this is stiff. But this is a completely different type of plastic, okay? This would be similar to what you would see on the String King head than the old school heads. And honestly, I think more heads are going to be moving towards this kind of plastic anyway. It's pretty resilient. So you can bend it like crazy and it snaps right back to what it was. And that's exactly what we're going for. So be honest, I've gone through 3 or 4 different prototypes that we've tried with slightly different plastics. We have found the plastic we want for sure. The plastic on the last prototype that I just used lasted forever. It buried other heads, folded them right in half, always maintained its shape. Haven't even used a spacer yet, to be honest, in a lot of these. So, I'm pretty excited about this. So the plastic will be resilient. Now, here is the next part. Along with that is called Hero Mesh 2.0 FaceOff Edition. This is basically Hero Mesh 2, but about 40 to 50% thinner in the middle. So it's noticeably lighter, noticeably thinner on the inside. The outside is still thick, so it lasts longer with your face-offs. So this Hero Mesh Face-Off Edition will go into this head. And the idea was we don't want a stretchy, super soft mesh that's just going to bag out eventually. We don't want a stretchy, super soft mesh where you can't put shooting strings in, so you shoot 20 miles an hour and the ball just gets caught up in here. We don't want that, because if you have really soft mesh, it tends to stretch up here. That's why soft mesh is almost completely non-existent anymore. We wanted regular Hero Mesh because it's so good and it's resilient and it has a little bit of a give to help with your hard shot and your catching, but just make it a little bit thinner so it doesn't bubble, right? Pop it out here. The problem is you go to catch it and it sits right here. You won't have that issue with this mesh. It'll come in and out. But the big thing is that we're hoping you'll enjoy the fact that once you face off, you can catch and throw and rip like a regular high performance, harder mesh. And that was the goal. So you have Weapon X head. First ever full offset FOA head. Hero 2.0 mesh face-off edition. I'm going to take this head, this mesh, I'm going to string it up. And then I'm going to release this first review whenever I'm told I'm allowed to. And then whatever day is decided as the final day in March that we release the head officially on sale, I will release part 2 of my performance review, where we go completely over all of the performance parts of this, both positive and negative. And we will see how this head holds up. But I'm really excited. Thanks for watching the review. Feel free to subscribe so that you can be one of the first people to notice when the part 2 comes up. Share this with your friends. And for all you guys who are out there and are true FOSOS athletes, welcome to Weapon X.